bones and hair and nails are all um, very predominant in Vata. So the sesame seed oil is very nourishing to gums and teeth, and it's very cleansing. It is also considered to be a bacterial antiviral. So um,
Yeah, this is sesame oil based with mint oil, clove oil. Yeah, lovely oils in it. So a drop of this into the sesame oil, I think, lovely mouthwash. It's nice.
Yeah, but as I say, we've just run out of it. But
Oh
we'll
yeah,
order more. Actually, we'll order a lot more because I think I think people will like it.
lots of herbs in it. Yeah, it is nice, a nice oil. Yeah, it's a
But
new
anyone
product.
interested in that should definitely do Dr. Nahid's webinar on Monday, because Dr.
Yeah.
Nahid's going to cover a lot about keeping all those cavities nice and clean and healthy and everything like that. It's amazing. Dr. Rajvinder, how many fillings do you have?
Me, no, I don't have any feelings.
Dr. Nahid, how many fillings do you have? No, I
None.
bet you there isn't a European on this call I could ask that question to, and they'd say there's no fillings. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong. But when I was a
But
kid,
I heard from a lady, she's in her 70s, and she told when they were in school, they used to pay them to take their tooth out, like they will pay some money, and that's what she said. To support my family, she got them over to that, which I found, wow, that's an awful thing to do to children.
well, I tell you something, I didn't experience that as a child, but whenever I went to the dentist, and dental care was free as a child, whenever I went to the dentist as a child, and my teeth couldn't have been that bad because we weren't given sugar as kids, I always came away with fillings. And I just thought, this guy's getting paid to fill these things up, and he's just filling them up, and
Oh.
like all my teeth are nearly filled. And that was from about the age of 16. So it's,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and dental care was paid for by the state. So
Why would they do that? Do you have cavities? Did you have cavities at the age of 16?
I don't know. Well, I can't imagine that I did, but I must have had something. But
I think
anyway,
the chocolate was that dominant at that time.
Yeah.
no,
You
that's
used
what I'm
to
saying.
fill
As a
up.
kid, we weren't given sweets by our parents. We weren't. Given
Only thing we were given was a jaggery. That's all we had in our house. And the sweet was only Diwali, the once a year, the sweets in the house.
Yeah, well, Western kids get sweets all
And we
the
had
time.
no chocolates. We had no chocolates
Yeah.
in our school time. So. And now I think it's easily available, easy access to chocolate and all. That's the trouble.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the dental care of Indian kids now. Are they all filling free as well? So
No, it's not free though. It's very
no, are they
expensive.
free from them?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's rising in India as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, these days the child, like a kid of 5 or 6 years, they complain of toothache. So because they eat a lot of junk, the cold drink, the French fries, the chips, the chocolates, and that remains in their teeth all around, the sticky one, and then the grows of bacteria, and then further cavities and all.
yeah, I have an Indian friend. She has twins. They are 6-year-old. They both very bad teeth. Yeah, so Indian children are picking up as well.
Yeah, so it's just picking
Yeah.
up the bad habits. It's the same in Delhi and Mumbai with the fast food,
Mm.
like McDonald's and KFC. They're all over the place now, So, and you've got such beautiful cuisine, and people are going in and eating,
Oh, you just want to mimic the West and West. Yeah, it's just the other way
Yeah.
around now. Okay, I think
BTMT, I'm not sure when it'll be back in stock, Mia. We don't have it anyway at the moment. Okay, let's see how we're doing. 225. Okay, so we're getting up there, but maybe we should start. It's 1940. So this evening we're going to be talking about Pitta. We did Vata last week, which is the king of the doshas, but this evening we're talking about Pitta. So Pitta is fire and water. So you got to think about the qualities of fire and water. Well, they're opposites really, and you can't exist together, but they exist together as acidity, as acid, So anything to do with heating and transformation and all of those things is to do with Pitta. So we're going to take a very big look at the qualities of Pitta this evening. So I think I'll go ahead, Dr. Brennan. Are you happy to go ahead?
happy as the day long.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start this.
See it? Perfect.
So in our last lesson, we discovered the qualities of Vata. We had an in-depth look at Vata and the diseases. So if everybody wants to switch their camera off, it might just improve the quality of the video, and then you can put them back on when we come back live again. disorders associated with Vata, and we know now how we can balance our Vata. Nice warm abhyangas, nice warm food, not too much time pressure, early to bed, a very moderate amount of exercise, and all of these things that can help balance Vata. And today we're going to be looking at Pitta. Now, Pitta, as you know, or maybe you don't know, is made up of fire and water. So Pitta is the fiery dosha, and this is of particular interest to me because I have quite a lot of Pitta in me as well. And Pitta is a great dosha to have a lot of because it's got great organizing power, it's got great strength, it likes to understand things, but out of balance, it's not so good because then we become angry and impatient and compulsive and all these things. So we're going to have a very in-depth look at Pitta today. We're going to start off with Dr. Brennan. And Dr. Brennan, I'd like to first of all start by asking you, what do you feel is the big significance of Pitta?
Pitta is very profound and very wonderful dosha, as you say, Noel. If we start from the very source again, we find one fundamental consciousness at the depth of our mind, which under the influence of Vata, prana, starts to move, and actually its active mode is mind, and then it starts to organize a physical structure to work through. And so each of us is conceiving, constructing, becoming our body. And we saw in the last talk how profound, how sublime that is. And with the progressive emergence from the field of consciousness, we find the five senses being the instruments through which elements emerge, air and space being Vata. And then the fire element, as Noel mentions, is the Pitta. It's associated with the sense of sight. And so in the mind, it's very much to do with the intellect, that discriminating value, which decides this or that, good or bad. And that discrimination is, when very refined, is an aspect of Pitta called tejas, which gives incredible light to a personality. And then that Pitta further goes on to transform. It is the process of transformation, basically. So the Vata is what moves everything in mind and body, but the Pitta comes in and transforms so that we can change our mind, or we can digest our lunch, and we can transform nourishment into energy. We can transform information into knowledge. So all these aspects of transformation, they're like the fire that burns and transforms things in, say, in a chemical reaction. So one thing we start with, and then the transformation, and we get something else. In the same way, nourishment comes in as we eat and breathe and take nourishment to our senses and to our emotions. And then Pitta transforms it into us, into what we are. So this is the profound, fundamental reality of Pitta's function of transformation. And when done properly, then fantastic health.
And what would be the indications of someone who's, let's say, whose Pitta was very balanced? How would someone whose Pitta is balanced be? What would indicate that?
Lovely question, Noel. The balanced Pitta gives rise to a very intelligent mind, a very clear, perceptive, enlightened mind, incredibly discriminating, and a very good willpower. Someone who's very independent, very warm and friendly, courageous. They make very good guides, very good teachers, very good leaders. So that's the Pitta when it's lovely and balanced. But if it starts to get a little overexcited, or it would say rajasic in the mind, become willful and impulsive and ambitious and aggressive and controlling and critical, dominating, manipulating, become angry, become wrathful. You've got to keep Noel on side, keep balanced.
Yeah. Some of those things don't sound so nice. In actual fact, I would say if you were living with a Pitta person and their Pitta was out of balance, you mightn't have such a nice life, really.
No, it gets worse. If the Pitta becomes tamasic, and this is just motivating you to keep your balance, the Pitta would become hateful, vile, vindictive, violent, destructive, psychopathic, criminal, drug dealer, underworld figure.
Okay. So that's extreme imbalance. So, but still, I mean, then it would be very necessary for people to know how to balance the Pitta, or how to help balance the Pitta of someone that's in their life, you know. And we're going to be talking about that a lot with Dr. Edvinder a little bit later on. But some of you may be recognizing those qualities in yourself. Are you very impatient? Are you an impatient driver? Can you stand in a queue? Do you get angry very quickly? Are you very judgmental? All of those things will be a sign of a Pitta imbalance. And we'll talk more about a little bit later on about what the diseases associated with Pitta imbalances are. So the qualities and functions of Pitta, Don, I think you've already kind of explained them, but
the thing there, Noel, is that the balance is brilliant on the physical side, because it's going to give you immense energy, and it's going to give you a lovely lustrous complexion and a very sort of sharp appetite, joy with food, very discriminating. So because it is the transformational process, if it's balanced, it gives incredible good digestion, good transformation of nourishment to tissues, to energy. So it's fundamental for good health when balanced. So the balance and the imbalance will, of course, come back again to the qualities. So Pitta's qualities are hot and sharp and dynamic and slightly oily. And so it's important that these qualities be balanced in life by the opposite qualities. You know, so if Pitta is very hot, we need to keep the Pitta chilled. They need to chill out and have fun and laugh, and a good work-life balance. They need, you know, to be softened up in some ways. They're not to be ordered around, but if you agree with them, they're very amenable, very sweet.
This is why you're always agreeing with me, Dr. Brennan.
Oh yes, our Lord is always right.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true what you say. I mean, I know if actually one of the things I love doing is going swimming in the summertime, and it's so good for Pitta people. It's just a great thing. And you might go in with all these tensions and worries, and you've been working hard and doing all these things, and then you just go swimming and you come out a different person, you know. So it's
absolutely, you know, because we have fire and here's water, and the water is so sweet. So you often see strong Pitta people. They're fishermen. They just love sitting for hours by the water, and the rest of us think, what a waste of time. But for them, this is total peace, total serenity, total joy. When you're balanced, always joy. And so the water, the moonlight, things of beauty, because Pittas are very, very visual. And Dr. Naheed will be talking to us shortly about, you know, the different Pittas. In the same way there are 5 Vattas, because we have 5 senses, and our Vata projects through senses. Similarly, Pittas projecting through 5 senses to create 5 Pittas. And each Pitta will in turn have its own location, as Dr. Naheed will discuss, and its own functions, understanding which gives us a more profound insight in what to balance. And so the balance will be in terms of the food as well, because Pitta is very strong in the digestive area, and the food immediately impacts there. And so we want to avoid anything fermented or overheating, like alcohol or vinegar or fermented things. Or we want to avoid too many hot spices for Pitta. Cooling spices like coriander and maybe cinnamon are more suited to them.
To a Pitta nature. Okay. So if you, how would you recognize, like everybody's going to have some Pitta in them, but obviously some people are going to be more predominant in it. It's like all the 3 doshas. You're not one or the other. You're all 3, but in different mixtures. So someone who's got a strong amount of Pitta, how would people recognize a person with, you know, a lot of Pitta? And then I suppose more importantly, how would they recognize if that person's Pitta was imbalanced?
Well, that Pitta person will come towards you with a confident stride. He'll put the hand out for a strong handshake. You'll notice he has a ruddy complexion and a very sharp gaze in his eye. He's of moderate pace and moderate strength and stamina. So he's more like the middle distance runner, whereas Vata is more like the light and live sprinter. And so he's moderate size, moderate build, and he's got a warm nature, balanced. He's very cheerful and friendly. And then again, of course, if you are like relaxed and enjoying his company, it would indicate that he has a degree of balance. But if he's out of balance, you quickly spot the sharpness in the gaze of the eye being a bit too sharp, or he could get too much sharpness in his appetite and start to get a lot of heartburn or burning sensation or inflammation in his body. He could end up with something like gout is a very hot, inflamed condition. Ulcers, ulcerative colitis, hemorrhoids, very hot sort of conditions. Irritable hot skin rashes would be Pitta. And so again, the balance comes down to his experience of life as joy and well-being, and out of balance, very uncomfortable, burning sensations, sour taste in his mouth, things like that. No.
Okay. So I think, Dr. Brennan, that's given us a great overview to start with our exploration of Pitta. So we know that Pitta now, hot people, maybe very intelligent, like to understand things, like to control things, very great when in balance. They drive things forward, they get things done. But out of balance, like all the doshas, we get a problem, and those problems can show up as anger and impatience and those things that Dr. Brennan mentioned. So now we're going to Okay, everybody, so now we're going to discuss the locations and subdoses of Pitta in the body. Dr. Brennan has given a great overview of the qualities of Pitta and what it does and what its functions are. But again, with all doshas, there are subdosas, there are locations of these in the body. There's different problems if different Pittas go out of balance. So Dr. Naheed, can you enlighten us in relation to Pitta and where its location and function is in the body?
Yeah, I would be delighted to do that. Just like I have discussed about the 5 subtypes of Vata dosha, similarly, Pitta has 5 subtypes. So the first one, which is located in our eyes and responsible for our vision, for our intellect, that one is called Aloe Pitta. And when we get exposed to too much of heat and maybe, smoking, because the hot fume is going inside our eyes. So what happens is that they go out of balance and we can have poor eyesight and recurrent eye infections. Maybe it can be conjunctivitis or any inflammation in your eyes. The second one, which is located in our heart, and which helps in the formation of ojas, and which is also helps to control our emotions, our whatever experience we have, the ability to express ourselves. It is called sadhu. So when we get a lot of stress or worry, a lot of emotional pressure, then they go out of balance. And then the people start suffering with, emotional baggages. They can't let go things. They are like angry. They are like irritable. And, it's become very difficult for them to express themselves. And the third one, which is located in our liver, in our spleen, and they help to impart, or I can say, they help in the formation of our blood. So they are called Ranjak, and they are also responsible to impart colors in our skin, in our hair, and all the coloring things. So it's actually a dyer. So if we consume a lot of alcohol, or we take incompatible combinations of food very frequently, then our Ranjak Pitta goes out of balance. And they can lead to skin problems. They can be like, acne, or they can be like serious autoimmune skin diseases. Or it can be like few people complain of premature graying of hair. So it's your Ranjak Pitta which is making your hair goes gray before it has to be. And there can be some bleeding disorders, like you're not clotting as early as it should be. And there can be jaundice. So jaundice is a disease in which, you keep storing your bilirubin. There is excess of bilirubin in your blood, and you become pale and yellowish.
The fourth one, which is present in our entire gut, and this is the most important subdosha of Pitta, because Ayurveda considers that a good digestion is the key to our good health. So it helps not only in digestion, but also in the transformation, whatever we eat. And one of the things which it does is it helps to separate the waste and the good essence of our food. That is called Pachak Pitta. So, in our courses, you must have heard quite good time that do not eat anything before your previous meal has been digested. If you do that, and if you keep doing that, then your Pachak Pitta goes out of balance, and you can have slow digestion, you can have hyperacidity, you can have, ulcer diseases like stomach ulcer or duodenum ulcer, or you can have stomatitis, like, the ulcers in your mouth. You can have loss of appetite as well. And the fifth one, which is present in our skin, and they are responsible for the temperature of our body. They are also responsible for our shades and color. And they are also responsible to absorption, like we are applying cream, we are applying oil in our body, like in when doing abhyanga. So this is the Bhrajak Pitta. It's responsible to digest all those oil in our skin to provide nutrition to deeper inside the skin, in our tissues, in our bones. So they go out of balance when we eat, when we are having indigestion, we are still feeling heavy, we are having burps, and we still eat. We don't digest our food properly and we keep having food. Or they can be because of climate change. So if you are a frequent traveler, if you are traveling from a cold country to a hot country, then your Bhrajak Pitta can goes out of balance. And you can suffer with skin diseases like, psoriasis, or maybe rash, maybe urticaria kind of thing, acne, and in fact, burning sensation, those who get a lot of sunburn and inflammation. And apart from all the disease I have discussed, in general, the Pitta tends to, like, whatever inflammation, whatever burning sensation we have in our body is because of the imbalance of your Pitta. So if you have all the symptoms, so you need to know that, you need to balance your Pitta.
Okay, Dr. Naheed, so that's great. And I don't want people to get too worried about the terminology there. If you want to see the different subdoses of Pitta, then on our website under Pitta, you can read all about them and what they're responsible for. But it just shows you the knowledge that the Ayurvedic doctor has, because they can pinpoint a particular condition based on a particular subdosha of Vata, Pitta or Kapha, and then they can make recommendations bringing on that back into balance. But that thing about the skin was very interesting, Dr. Naheed, about what you put on your skin, because obviously sesame oil abhyanga is very nourishing for the skin. But should people be careful about, there's a lot of cosmetics that people use nowadays, and there seems to be a huge amount of chemicals in those cosmetics. Is that a problem?
Yes, that will be a problem, because your skin is absorbing everything which you are applying in your body. So you need to be really careful when you choose any product. That's why we always recommend to go natural, to buy organic, to buy products which are made from the natural source and not from the synthetic chemical source.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I travel a lot myself and I always wonder about sun creams, because when you look at the bottle and you see what's in it, you're thinking, my God, what am I putting on myself here? And then I looked into natural sunscreens that are sunscreens that you could make. And there's a huge range of natural sunscreens that you can make for nourishing the skin as well. So you can avoid taking all those toxins in. And I did hear some statistic a while back about the amount of chemicals that leach into the body from... Yeah, so Dr. Naheed, actually, I read some statistic a while back. I can't remember the exact figure, but an amazing amount of chemicals that get into the body through synthetic makeup and synthetic skincare products being put on, and being put on your skin. So I think people need to be very, very careful, because the skin does absorb things into the system, doesn't it?
Yes, of course. So in fact, I have met one of my patients who gave she was suffering with scalp psoriasis. So when I was taking history that what went wrong, what made her pitta actually goes out of balance. So the most significant thing I found that she dyed her hair for the first time, and just after a few weeks or maybe a month, she had started developing all those itching sensation and the rash kind of thing, and then it's been diagnosed with scalp psoriasis. So chemicals can be really harsh on us.
Okay, so we need to be very careful because the skin is a pitta organ. We need to be very careful about what we're taking into the system. Okay, Dr. Naheed, so that's fantastic. So now we're going to go and we're going to have a thanks very much for all that information, and we're going to go to Dr. Rajvinder now. Lucan, and she sees quite a lot of patients coming into her. So Dr. Rajvinder, I just want to talk to you now about very, very practical things in relation to pitta. So I'm just wondering, what sort of conditions do you see people coming in with pitta imbalances, and what kind of recommendations? What would be the typical type of thing you might be recommending for pitta people?
Okay, thank you, Noel. As Pitta is the element, fire element, dominancy of fire element in the body, and Pitta is responsible for the digestion. So anything that's kind of related to the digestive system problems, there is involvement of Pitta there. So the first thing that a Pitta person would experience if Pitta is out of balance is indigestion, heartburn, gastritis. So these are the common problems, and that is high Pitta in the body. And if Pitta is not looked after and the situation continue, then it can change into colitis and Crohn's on the autoimmune side. So Pitta is the element which is involved more into the autoimmune problems. So for example, eczema, psoriasis, there are other like Vata, Kapha element involvements there, but dominantly most of in my practice, I see the Pitta is majorly involved. As Dr. talking about the sour element, the sour food consumed by the pregnant woman, and that then the child could be born with a skin condition, and that could be maybe more acne as the child is going to grow, or eczema or psoriasis. So I treat people with them, they have eczema from their birth time and they're still struggling. And when you ask them about their diet and lifestyle, you find that there is a lot of pitta imbalance going on in their system. And pitta is in mostly the heat, and heat is mostly in the liver. So in Ayurveda, heat and the liver, they goes hand by hand. So all the heat trapped in the liver is going to show up on the skin. So majorly the skin problems are pitta related. And then as Dr. Naheed was going about the subdoshas, so we heard about the alochic pitta, which is responsible for the eyes health. So the people with the vision problem and most of the problem around the eyes are pitta related. So eye health, thinning of hair loss could be pitta related as well. Arthritis, some of the arthritis like rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis, majorly Vata, but there could be pitta involvement going on in the system. So if you'll think about the autoimmune problems, mostly they are pitta related.
Okay, and what sort of foods and spices would we be recommending for people who have pitta imbalances or high pitta?
Okay, so there are 6 tastes in the food, as you all know by now: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. So if you take the first taste, sweet, and then the last 2, bitter and astringent, they are good for pitta. So pitta people should avoid sour, and they should avoid salty, and they should avoid the pungent taste. So it's probably bad news for all the crisp lover. They can't eat all those tomato-based kind of curries or potato crisps, and wine moderation, but too much of consumption of alcohol would increase pitta in the system. As I was saying before, all these are like acid increasing substances, and they increase the heat in the liver, and that's what is going to show up on your in the physiology in some form of skin problem or heartburn or indigestion or colitis and things like that. So pitta should avoid sour fruits, which could be like an unripe mango, which will be very sour pineapple, sour kiwis, sour tomatoes, and lemon in moderation. Lots of people have asked about the lemon. Lemon has more alkaline effect on the system, so you could have lemon in moderation. maybe less lime. So sour and all those like salt-based pickles and salt-rich food as well. Pitta should avoid. And Pitta should avoid spices, like pungent spices, like a lot of ginger and a lot of black pepper or paprika, cayenne pepper, those kind of pungent spices also, or pungent fruits or vegetable, Pitta should avoid as well.
But I presume they could take ginger in small amounts.
In small amount, ginger is a universal herb. Ginger has a lot of properties. Ginger is a natural antioxidant, natural anti-inflammatory, and ginger is anti-cancer. Lots of research around ginger. So ginger is known as a universal herb. But Pitta would take ginger in moderation. But it's not like they should avoid it. Mainly they should avoid chilies, like a lot of red chilies or kind of that kind of chili-based kind of, because chili is a very kind of a fiery and very kind of a strong, pungent kind of spice which stimulate Pitta too much in the system.
Yeah, actually, I know that from experience. I quite like spices in my food, but chili is one of the things I simply can't take. If in a meal, it's too hot for me. But things like ginger and turmeric and all of these I can handle. I presume then there'd be cooling spices as well that would be good for Pitta people. So maybe fennel and coriander.
Yeah, so I'm saying about the bitter taste is good and estrogen taste is good. So spices like bitter, which is turmeric, is more on the bitter side. In moderation is very good for Pitta people. And estrogen like cumin, coriander, fennel. Fennel is wonderful cooling herb. Cardamom has a cooling effect on the body. Coriander has a cooling effect. So Pitta people can have a blend of a small amount of cumin and dominantly fennel and cardamom and turmeric and a little bit of ginger and black pepper. So these are the spices which will be more. And in the fresh herbs, coriander, fresh mint, and peppermint, these are wonderful spices for Pitta. Rose petals, licorice root, these are good. Marshmallow root, we stock, not the marshmallow, but the marshmallow root in your drinks and all. These are wonderful for Pitta. And we do around the spices, there might be some new people here are hearing these spices first time. I think most of people now are very much familiar with the spices. We do a Pitta blend, so it's called Pitta Churna. So to start with, for the beginners, that's where you start, from Pitta Churna. And for your drinks, we have Pitta tea, which is a lovely tea from fennel and cardamom and all those nice Pitta cooling spices. So those are worth considering for Pitta people.
Yeah, if people don't want to get too involved in the spices and they just want to be able to buy something that's balancing for their Pitta, then those Pitta churnas and those Pitta teas exist. Coconut must be very good for Pitta people, I would imagine.
Coconut is very cooling. And the fresh coconut, not the dry one, because when you dry the coconut, it's get heating then. So the fresh coconut water, coconut milk, it's a wonderful, or cooking with coconut oil, ghee as well. And the second, the coconut is great for Pitta people. So so there is a lot of Pitta options there.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that people can do if they are of a Pitta nature, because you'll know yourself when you start to go out of balance, and you'll feel that anger and you'll feel that impatience, and it's not good. It's not a nice way to be. So there are lots of things that Pitta people can do, including those, cooling drinks and those spices. And I presume leafy green vegetables then with the bitter element are very good for it.
With the bitter elements, especially like dandelion, nettle, and spinach in moderation, and sweet like sweet potato, carrots, these are good. So Pitta should avoid again, too much of bitters are great, bitter vegetable, any other bitters that you can find. Mustard green more on the warming side, but in moderation they are okay. Pak choi, chards, they're brilliant for Pitta people. Beetroots are good, sweet potato, carrots, parsnips, they are all lovely vegetables. Or the courgette and any kind of that kind of green which has a lot of juice, which has a lot of liquid in them, because Pitta is the fire element, so Pitta need to be hydrated well as well. So juicy fruits and juicy vegetables they are good for Pitta.
Okay, and I'm presuming that skipping meals is a really bad thing for Pitta people. From the question they're gonna.
The first thing when I consult to find out people's dosha, I ask them, do you feel hangry? And people laugh and say, yeah, that's me. So hangry is hungry and angry. So that's the thing Pitta people cannot take. If they're hungry, don't go near them. They're really kind of cranky, and they could be very snappy and bitter as well. So if you have a Pitta friend or Pitta family member, if you see them, they're panicking, not panicking, they're cranky, just give them a little sweet or something to eat so they'll calm down a bit. And so Pitta really, for Pitta people to get to be friends with Pitta is like I do for Noel, to make so that he's nice. Boss to me, I make him lovely lunches, and he really likes whenever he comes. So Pitta love their food. But Pitta's weakness is the sweet tooth. They can get attached to the sweet taste with too much. That's where they should have sweet taste naturally occurring from the food, like rice or sweet fruits. That's where they satisfy their sweet tooth. Otherwise, they end up emptying the whole box of the chocolates or biscuits go. So if you're a Pitta member in the family, you know it well. Where is the chocolate gone? So yeah,
I can relate to that one, especially over Christmas. All right, yeah, it's the open box of chocolates, and then not that I do it too often, but then they're just all gone, you know.
Yeah.
So everything you're talking about there is resonating with me. So as a very quite a Pitta person, the things that I would say people need to do is Pitta people can become very intense. And you need to step back and take a break from the things that you're doing, especially if you find you don't want to be angry or snappy with people or things like that, or judgmental or anything like that. And if you find yourself going that way, then you need to just step back a little bit from what you're doing. Walking in the moonlight's very good. Swimming is very good. Being out in nature is very good. You know, nice things, beautiful things are very good. And as Dr. Richvinder said there, food is really important, especially your main meal in the middle of the day, because if you skip that, then you can really, really go out of balance. And Pittas don't take so well to complete fasting. We do recommend, fasting days, but I find if I fast and take nothing at all, what happens is I get a headache. And that's because there's too much acid coming out of the system, I believe. So, you can balance it off by having a light meal, a light soup or something like that. But sometimes Pitta people don't take too well to complete fasting, which a Kapha might do better with it, or even a Vata might do better with it, but Pitta people always don't do very well with that, So that's great, Dr. Richvinder. Thanks very much, and thanks very much for giving us an overview of that. So I think we have a fairly good overview there of the qualities of Pitta and what Pitta is. So maybe I'll just go back to Dr. Brennan. Is there any final words you'd like to say on the subject of Pitta, Dr. Brennan, now that you've heard our just talking about it?
I think it's wonderful what they've told us, and giving us incredible insight. And in summation, you can see why it's so valuable to keep your Pitta balanced. And when you do that, you then, because of the Brajika, that skin located Pitta, you have a lustrous complexion. If you say someone is illustrious, it's the light, it's Pitta coming. And then if you think about the digestion, the Pachika and the Ranjika in the digestive area, you're then talking about creating so much more ojas, which is your immunity, your strength, your vitality, which is, the perfect physical health. And then when you think of Sadhaka to do with the heart and the transformation of life's experience into joy, you're balancing Pitta gives you these profound aspects which bring you to a reality which is the far greater you. And ultimately you have a lochika, which is to do with sight and insight. And that discriminating quality of Pitta, when the Pitta is settled, the Vata is settled, it causes you to have immense insight. And that insight is what allows you to sort of be truly yourself, where that field of consciousness reverberates in a perfect balance, and you experience your potential. And this is what we ultimately all want from our balance.
Okay, Dr. Brennan, that's fantastic. So before we finish our class, I want to share the screen with everybody, because again, I want to bring you to our website to show you where you can read up more about Pitta. So this is our website. It's just ayurveda.ie. So everybody should be familiar with this website. And again, if you go over to Ayurveda here, this menu option, and come down here, you'll see a page about Pitta. So you can read up about Pitta there and what it's like in balance, and what it's like. There's all the different subdoshas of Pitta and what they cover and what happens when they go out of balance. You can see there demanding, perfectionist, workaholic, stomach acid, all those heating things, bloodshot eyes, poor vision, and then all the different things about things that balance your Pitta and things that imbalance your Pitta. So if you've recognized yourself as a strongly, predominantly Pitta person, there's lots and lots of things that you can start to do now to bring yourself back into balance. So we've done Vata, we've done Pitta, and now we have Kapha left to do. And Kapha will be the subject of our next lesson. And Kapha is earth and water. So a very heavy dosha, a very heavy element. And we're going to cover that in our next lesson. I'll put this up on YouTube for everybody to go back over so that they can review it. And now we're going to go over and we're going to do our Q&A session with our doctors. So if you have questions, I'd like, if possible, we'll give favour to people who ask questions about the content of the lesson. So if you have questions about Pitta or Pitta conditions, we'll favour them. But as usual, you can feel free to ask whatever question you want. I can't guarantee we're going to be able to answer them, but go ahead and put them into the chat.
Okay, so we're back live now. So you can switch your cameras back on. So that was our lesson about Pitta and fire and water. Of the 5 elements, earth, air, fire, water, and space, fire and water combined together to form Pitta. So I think it's a very clear explanation of that. People will recognize in themselves whether they have Pitta in them. And so we'll go ahead and the doctors can begin answering the questions. I see there's some in there. All right.
The first one goes way back. The Rajas cup is a great drink. Someone asked about the Rajas cup. It does contain liquor, so it's not for people with blood pressure, but it's a fantastic tonic, and it has a taste like coffee, so it acts as a nice coffee substitute. But I think I would start with one of the bags rather than the loose grains of it, because you want it fairly dilute when you start it, and you get a real taste for it. But notice its effect, because if you're tired and you have it, you'll be fresh after, and yet it doesn't contain any caffeine. So that's a fascinating thing. I'll talk about one other, antiperspirants. I would think the best thing you could do is throw them out. Pitta people actually perspire quite a lot, but perspiring is also getting rid of toxins. So you don't want something that prevents your body and blocks the toxins going out. And anyway, those antiperspirants are often full of chemicals again, which you don't need because you'll absorb, and then
Don, what about the salt ones, the crystallized salt one? I use that actually. I mean, because Pitta people do have a tendency to smell as well, because there's that pungency, you know. So on a warm day, you need something really. So there's a Crystal Springs one that I use. I think it's just pure lump of rock salt, really, and you just put it under your arms. And I think the idea behind it is it doesn't prevent you from sweating, but it just kills the bacteria. Are you familiar with that product?
In the health store, there is a one natural one.
But what about that salt one? Because I see it in chemists. I see it all over the place. I think it's called Crystal Springs. Is that something that?
I've seen that, but I haven't read the ingredients because I wouldn't be using any of those products. But for this perspirant smell, if some Pitta people perspire a lot, so probably shower maybe a few times a day, or wearing one of the aroma oil just on the wrist, or rose water spray. They are very good for natural deodorants. But there are natural deodorants. Sorry, Dr. Daniel.
A few drops of sandalwood oil would be absolutely
beautiful. Yeah. The Pitta aroma oil is lovely. It has sandalwood in it. It has lavender, I think.
My concern with salt there is that salt increases Pitta.
Okay. Well, there's a product there that I buy from India now. This is from
Forest Essentials. Yeah.
Forest Essentials, and actually I tried to get a distributorship for this product, but I couldn't, because no less than Estee Lauder distributes this in the West. So I just buy it directly from India, and they have the most fantastic mixture of, like, that one is sandalwood and vetiver, and it's just a body spray, but you can spray it under your arms as well. But they're the whole range in them. They've jasmine and rose, and they're expensive, you know, and you have to ship them in, and they take a while to come in. But if someone's interested in them in using aroma oils, like, it's not a pure aroma oil, it's diluted, so it's a body spray. But and you can make your own with aroma oils, but it's a
I guess
really
aroma oil diluted with rose water do the same job.
what is it? What is it, Rajvinder?
Rose water and that kind of spray
Oh,
bottle.
rose water, yeah.
Just
And
put some aroma oil into it, Pitta aroma oil, and
yeah,
make your own.
Actually, we sell rose water, and yeah, you could put Pitta aroma oil in it or Vata aroma, a few drops in with that. That's a great idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
even
great
muscle rest is a lovely one.
Sorry, Nahid?
And some essential oil if someone is looking for more smell kind of thing. So, you
Yeah,
know,
that's what we're saying.
Yeah, put some essential oils in it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, Don, is there any more you wanted to?
Can do two doshas be out of balance at the same time? Yeah, definitely, and certainly even all three can be out at the same time. We usually find it helpful to start with the worst one and work your way back. But often, if there's a lot out of balance, Vata is underlying them all. And skin allergies in an elderly lady causing a skin ulcer. So, well, my first thing would be to think about turmeric because it's so good for the skin, and Aloe Vera gel is good for the skin, taken by mouth. With an elderly lady, maybe a little bit
I need more details for that, Dr. Brown. I don't know what age is she and what's happening, what food she's eating. So some change in her diet will help her, and maybe using a gentle Pitta body lotion, something like that, very simple thing, might help. Yeah, there are herbs. There are herbs. Yeah.
We have to remember that the skin is an excretory organ again, so it's very important that you take care of the digestion, so you're not forming hama or toxins. So it's if she's interested in consultation, it's a better way forward.
Like as I said, it's a liver and skin. Probably her liver need to.
Yes. Another interesting question from Susie. Fermented foods, a very interesting question because of the Pitta issue. And fermented foods like in Ayurveda, we would use lassi, but with all sorts of other ferments coming on kefir and all these things now. Not really for Pitta. And there are better ways to take care of your gut bacteria. Just make sure you eat a lot and a great variety of different plants every week, because it's the plant fiber that feeds the bacteria in the gut, and that's called a prebiotic as opposed to a probiotic. It doesn't contain the bacteria in the food. It actually contains the foods that feed the bacteria in your gut. So that's a better way to do it, especially for Pitta. But for Vata and Kapha, those ferments can be helpful. There's a couple on eyes, Stye in the eye, cataract, Pitta.
Dr. Nahid can take those.
Yeah. What we do for a Stye in the eye? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so there are paste, like you can make paste of the certain herbs and you can apply over the eyes. I keep the name of the herbs as to me, and I'll disclose that on the 19th of April.
Mhm.
Okay. And cataract is a condition, it can be, condition related to kapha dosha, because there is a kind of layer forms in your eyes and you gradually stop uh, able to see properly, and that's mostly a surgical kind of condition, but you can definitely do a lot of things to prevent to get a cataract. There are seven different kinds of therapies are there in the classical text of Ayurveda, where you can improve your eyesight, where you can prevent a lot of diseases, and in fact you can cure a lot of diseases with those simple home remedy therapies.
Wow, interesting. I'll be there next Monday. Kathleen, especially it's exceptionally hot at night. Is that a Pitta complaint? It surely is. And probably you will notice it more about 12:1 too, because that's the Pitta time of the night where you get very hot. And remember when we were, evolving on this planet and for how many thousands of years past, the actual stimulus for sleep was one, dark, and two, cold, because actually when the sun goes down, it gets cold and dark. And so to be cooler, is better to get you off to a deep night's sleep. So that means, very little bedclothes. So you're right though, if you're feeling a lot of heat in the night, your pitta is a little bit too much, and you could definitely work to bring it down.
Don't drink wine.
Uh,
Maybe it's the wine at the bedtime.
yeah, somebody was looking for their drink of wine for pitta. And, not certainly if you have a pitta complaint. If you were very balanced, then maybe the occasional glass. Now, the occasional be the operative word there. The Benga oil for pitta, sunflower oil would be good as well as coconut oil.
Yeah.
And I take one question is there different way of massaging for each doshas? So massaging is unique to do along the direction of your hair, and you usually start from the top of your body. So if you plan to do a oil massage if you're washing your hair, then you start from your head and you gradually go down. For your long bones, you do like that, to and fro, and for your bones, you do in a circular motion. But the pressure can be different for each body type. So vatas are like, they are not very muscle built, they don't have that much of a stamina, so the pressure can be less for a vata person. There can be a medium kind of pressure for a pitta, and as the kaphas are well built, they have a lot of muscles and fat, so they may require some more pressure while you're massaging. Yeah.
And kaphas can do a dry massage actually as well if they want, so they can actually use a dry massage. Pitta can use coconut oil because it's very cooling, but sesame oil is good for everybody, but it's particularly good for vata people, and have the oil warm and have the bathroom warm, especially if you're a vata type of person. Rajvinder, lemon is alkalizing on the body, even though many people would think it's acidic.
No, citrus fruits are kind of considered sour taste and acidic for pitta. Lemon is an exception in Ayurveda. We recommend lemon water, but in moderation for pitta. So if you're using sour fruit, sour things, fermented things, just moderation. Don't gulp.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because a friend of mine in Mexico was telling me that they use the lemons over there, and it's one of the natural remedies they have for treating.
Yeah, like in summer,
the body,
Yeah, in summer in India, you have people selling lemon water, lemon and mint everywhere on the street. So it's very cooling. So that's where lemonade. People drink lemonade, I think, in the summer here.
Yeah, and Ayurveda recommends it in the morning as well. Hot water with some lemon, and then if you have a cold, lemon, ginger, and honey as well is another.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, when lemon goes inside your stomach and when it reacts with the natural acids of the stomach, it acts as alkaline. It doesn't act as acidic. So in some condition, when there is too much of hyperacidity, so if you take a teaspoon of lemon, you feel relaxed after that.
So Tamara says the rose petals in your website are fantastic. I'm going to make rose water tomorrow. They are fantastic in tea too, getting ready for the pitta season. Yeah, rose is very good for cooling and for pitta people. Yeah.
Somebody saying the idli and dosa, they are good for pitta. I would recommend you don't ferment it for too long. Just soak your dal and rice and just let it soak for maybe 2 days, and then you make your paste. You can still make a nice dosa. You don't have to ferment it for too long. Okay, so that will help.
Someone asking about migraines there. Migraines have a strong pitta component to them, do they?
Pitta and vata.
Yeah, strong pitta component, and just diet changes, the simple strategy can help to manage the migraine much better.
And meditation, I think, is fantastic in my experience, because it's an overactive, it's too much stress on the brain, too much going on, and so meditation I have found is a great way of helping people with migraines and headaches in general, actually, but migraines in particular. Migraine, very nasty thing, very, very nasty thing. So you need to do whatever you can to, I would say a consultation would be warranted there if you're a regular sufferer of migraines, because, they're very debilitating.
Well, somebody has a very compassionate suggestion for you. Yeah, for you. It says bicarbonate of soda kills the bacteria, and that prevents the malodor.
Malodor, yeah. Well, I'm not suggesting that in any way I'm stinking or anything like that. I'm just saying that Pitta people have to be aware of that, especially in the summertime, you know. And I do know how to take a shower and everything like that. And I do have my sprays here. So, yeah, okay, bicarbonate of soda. I use that for cleaning my house as well. So I can use that on my armpits as well. So get a double function out of it.
Well, the rose soap is lovely.
Oh, soap. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you have that. The Pitta soap is very
Yeah,
nice.
you all got me that for Christmas. That's a bit strange.
3 different.
3 different packs of it. Yeah.
We're saying nothing.
Yeah. What to use for a natural sunscreen? I looked it up on Google one time, and there's vitamin E is one of the things in it anyway. But there are definitely natural things that you can use for sunscreen. So I Googled that, and there's actually, I bought some commercial ones that are natural as well. They've no synthetic chemicals in them, and they work fine. I used to travel a lot. Maybe those days are finished, but so yeah, I never liked using the commercial sunscreens. I just never trusted them. There's too much stuff in them, you know. So I did make up my own at one stage, but I can't fully remember what was in it at the time. But it was all ingredients I could buy.
Aloe vera gel,
Aloe vera.
oil. Yeah.
Yeah, things good
Um,
nourishment for the skin. And then the main thing is don't go in the sun in the middle of the day, you know, just wear a t-shirt or whatever, you know, in the really hot part of the day. That's not good, even if you're wearing sunscreen, you know. So just avoid that really, really heavy sun, you know.
Oh, the raspberry seed oil has high amount of SPF. There you go. So buy raspberry seed oil.
What is it?
Raspberry seed oil.
Raspberry seed oil. Okay. There's always a solution for everything, a natural solution for everything, you know. It's just a matter of going looking. It's always there. Oh, nature provides every answer for everything. So it's always there. It's just a matter of looking for it, you know. Neem oil. You can buy into it.
Janice said the detox has sorted her headache.
The detox, yeah.
Yes. Janice is saying she was suffering from awful headaches, and the detox we did a couple of weeks ago has really helped. I haven't had one headache since. I better not have jinxed myself by saying that. No, Janice, you know what to do now. So just stick with the diet and the regime and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Kavita says she needs something for the face. I think people should wear some sort of blocker during the summertime, especially if it's very, very warm. But what I'm saying is just do a little bit of investigation to, well, you know, raspberry seed oil there as well, but you can make up your own or buy a natural one. I would just say that the commercial ones that you see, well, all you got to do is look at the ingredients. Just look at the ingredient list and decide for yourself if that's something you want to be putting on your skin. Because Dr. Naheed explained it very clearly. Whatever you're putting on your skin is getting absorbed into your skin. It's going into your bloodstream. You know, when you do an abhyanga, the effects of that are not, it's not just on the skin, it's everywhere in the body, you know.
Or if you go out, then come back and wash it off immediately. Don't leave it on in the house. So that's the way if you have to. And if you live in an area where it's very sunny.
Yeah, but get something natural, and then you don't have to. You can get something natural. Cucumber for sunscreen.
What's a good natural moisturizer? Apricot oil would be good. Almond oil would be good. Aloe vera.
Coconut oil is nice as well.
Coconut oil is absolutely lovely as well.
If you want to go a little bit more fancy, then and you can use kumkumadi, the saffron oil, and then there is a rose hip oil. Lots of lovely things. We have is it facial revitalizing oil? Yeah. Facial revitalizing oil. Yeah.
And worries about fire and water. Wonders about fire and water. Pitta is made up of fire and water, and then you see it in terms of, say, digestive juices. They're watery, but they're very fiery. So you do get that combination. It's a strange combination, but that's the reality. It's mostly fire with a little bit of water. It gives a Pitta a fluid nature.
There's a question there about different exercises for different doshas from Bansi. Absolutely, but just you can have a general principle that Vata people should do moderate to light exercise, and Pitta people moderate exercise, and Kapha people more strenuous exercise. But then if you look at it, like a Pitta person is going to be very attracted to swimming, you know, because it's very cooling. In the sea, I'm talking about, not in the swimming pool, you know. And if Kapha people can do running, long distance running, all that sort of stuff, because they have that stamina. And then Vata people just need to go for a walk, basically, you know, just very light exercise. Skiing would also be something that would be very attractive to Pitta people as well. So it's more about the intensity of it. you know, than the because if you're very, very Vata, if you do intense exercises, it's going to have a very profound effect on you and putting you out of balance, you know. So you just have to be self-referral to that.
And
Cindy,
Vata
help
people,
someone who, go ahead, Naheed, go ahead.
thank you. And Vata people tend to have a stiff body, stiff muscle. So you need to do some little bit of a stretching so that your muscle remain relaxed and you don't feel aches and pains.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead, Brennan.
sun salutation and asanas.
Yeah, little bit of stretching along with the walk.
So Sangeeta is wondering how to help a strong pitta who's in denial. It's very easy. You just agree with them. That's number one. And number two is you make them laugh. But you can also control them surreptitiously. Like if you have a lavender aroma or a saffron, a candle with aroma oil or pitta aroma oil in the room, they'll naturally be more calm. If they're getting hungry, be sure to feed them. And the foods you feed them have a powerful effect on helping them to balance their pitta. But the only thing you can do is be very agreeable, and eventually you persuade them that they would be really fascinated in Ayurveda and attend one of our courses, and that'll sort them out.
Yeah, and also if you're buying their clothes for them, or if you have control over the colors in their environment, then start introducing blues and whites and cooling colors. Get rid of the reds and the oranges. All those things, they all will have an effect on pitta, you know. So anything to bring that calmness to them. But it can be quite difficult because pitta people are very intense and they don't like being told what to do, and you have to be very subtle about it. But as Dr. Brennan says, make them laugh and feed them, and they, you know, or else you just have to leave them, I suppose.
And what if you are Pitta as well, and you need that too?
What did you say, Dr. Red?
And if you are Pitta as well, and you need feeding as well.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah.
So both of you. Anyway.
Lots of questions coming out about eyes again. So eyes floaters. Floaters are fairly normal things, little debris gathered in the eyes. And so eye tonics, just as to invigorate the eyes, would be one way of preventing and clarifying the vision. But that's all back to next Monday night, as far as I'm concerned. And the dry eyes and inflammation, dry eyes, Vata. I would suggest flaxseed oil in your diet just to help the Vata. And the use of ghee, very good for Vata and Pitta. Inflammation in your gums, then there shouldn't be any inflammation in the gums. Get the gum oil from Noel when he has it. In the meantime, use the coconut oil or the sesame oil, a mouth rinse regularly.
There's a nice comment from Vatsala. She says, the detox has made me dislike coffee from heavy dependence. So she's gone from heavy dependence to dislike it. I never used to like honey and now love it. Detox powder did the trick with honey. So there you are, Vatsala. So you save yourself a fortune on cappuccinos and coffees. So
how about you?
How about me? I'd rather not say that, Dr. Brennan.
He's gone on the coconut milk, so which is better.
Yeah, I've given up dairy and I'm using coconut milk. I had a coconut milk cappuccino this morning and it was just gorgeous. But it's definitely not as heavy with the coconut milk.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed.
They are.
Katrina is saying, can the imbalance of Pitta cause allergies or asthma? Normally, asthma or hay fever, that kind of allergies are kapha related, Katrina. But some of the skin allergies, like could be skin rash or things, that could be Pitta as well. So anything with the rash, skin issues, allergies, that's Pitta kapha involved there. But asthma is more kapha issue.
Vata and kapha, yeah.
Yeah.
So are Pitta people more prone to addiction issues? So when their sadhak Pitta goes out of balance, you become more addicted. You can't let go things. So you need to focus on calming yourself. As Pitta are aggressive, they can become angry really easily. So you need to do some kind of meditation. You need to do pranayama. You need to be in nature. And as Noel always suggests, you go for a swimming in sea and you feel relaxed and you will be able to work on yourself to leave the addiction.
Yeah, that's what I was about to answer that question, Dr. Naheed. So that's a good one. Yeah, addiction issues are Pitta. Any compulsive behavior can tend to be very, very Pitta, you know. So as Dr. Naheed said, all those things to balance Pitta are very, very important, you know. And would a ballet dancer naturally be Pitta? I think more Vata, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Dr. Brennan, the ballet dancer, did you do ballet dancing?
Oh, I'd say Vata. And I didn't do ballet. No. I did a bit of Irish dancing, no.
Okay,
You
that's
too?
good.
Oh, wow.
good fun.
We'll have to hold you to that some night.
Yeah, I'd love to do Shannos. I'd love to do it. Shannos,
Next celebration.
and I will behind the computer. The yeah, the ballet dancer. It's you know, they're so light and agile and refined and sensitive, and it's all to do with movement and refinement of movement, which is the expertise of Vata. So, and there's a question about eczema since birth from a child born of a Pitta woman.
I was going to take that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no, no, it's fine. I'll see your view. I hear your view, and then I'll add if I see.
I think it's a problem that it's worth bringing a child for a consultation. You know, when they're eczema since birth, it's a long
Well,
thing.
yeah. If it's a baby, mind your own diet. If you're breastfeeding or anything, that will help. And then you can massage the baby's skin, keep it properly moisturized. And as you're going to start feeding him, be careful what you start feeding. Maybe stay away from the gluten and all. So yeah, clearing the baby's diet and careful with the baby's diet and all, you can manage it much better.
Yeah.
So definitely, as Dr. Brennan said, yeah, talk to one of us.
Diet is certainly a thing that you have to be very much aware of with the baby, as Rajendra is saying, and how you introduce the solid foods will be very important for that baby. Ensure that they are pitta-reducing foods as well. And you know, as the baby goes on and becomes child, you want to support the baby's liver and herbs for the skin. There are things you can do, but I think it needs more, you know, detail.
Yeah.
Nico asks, is there essential oil suitable for each dosha? Absolutely there is. And we have 3 different essential oils. We lots of essential oils on our website, but we've 3 different blends, one called Vata, one called Pitta, and one called Kapha.
Yeah.
And the Pitta one is got sandalwood and various other things, cooling smells. And the Vata one and the Kapha one is more stimulating. So definitely smells affect the 3 doshas, you know.
Dark areas of dark pigment in some areas on my face. I look piebald. What can I do to reduce pigment in this in this area? So our skin pigmentation, our skin color is dependent on our subtypes of pitta, which is Ranjak pitta and Bhrajak pitta. So you need to focus on your pitta, and for local use you can use manjishta powder. It's available in our website along with honey. So you take half a teaspoon or like 1 teaspoon of manjishta powder, and you take honey double than that, and you just apply over the face, leave it till it becomes dry like 80%, and then just remove it. Keep using that. It will take some time to reduce all those spots, and keep focusing on pitta balancing, which Dr. Rajvinder has explained today.
Lynn Smith asks about the detox you're talking about. Are there details about it on your website? There aren't, Lynn, but the webinar is on our YouTube channel, or you can send me an email and I'll send you the link to it. We're booked out anyway. It's finished. It's booked out today, but we did one in March and we're doing another one in April, but we've too many people on it already.
If someone drop out, then we can take.
Yeah, if someone drops out, we can take more people. So if you're interested in it, but you need to watch that webinar. We did 2 webinars on it. You need to firstly watch that webinar to see what you're getting involved in. So it's on our YouTube channel, but if you can't find it, just send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie, and I'll send you back the link to it.
There's a question about Pitta spices, and there are plenty of them, you know, from caraway seeds, cumin seeds, cardamom, coriander, dill, fennel, fresh ginger, lemon, mint, peppermint, saffron, turmeric. So there's lots of Pitta spices there.
And Sheeta Josie asks, is aloe vera good for anything? It's good for Pitta.
Lots of things.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Good for your hair, good for your skin, and good for your liver.
Good
Great plant. I have one as well in my caravan.
Do you have oils for arthritis in your knees? Yeah, we have Joint Soothes oil for the arthritis. Is it in the stock at the moment?
No, it's out of stock at the moment. I can't keep that in stock. I'm just having difficulties getting stuff from mainland Europe at the moment.
But if you have 634 oil, the inhalation oil, that could be used.
Yeah.
I have lots of 634, so you can mix it with sesame oil and use it, you know.
Yeah.
But I hope to have the Joint Soothe back in next week sometime, you know.
That question about feeling hot in bed turned out to be hot feet. And hot feet in bed is a very natural thing because your body wants to cool down. So the hands and the feet, particularly at that point, can open up all the blood supply. So they become very hot, but the body is trying to use that because you can stick the feet out from under the covers and you can stick the hands out to radiate off some excess heat. So it's a natural phenomena. But you could do a coconut oil massage of the feet, or even better, a ghee foot massage before bed, because that's considered very good for sleep anyway in Ayurveda, and ghee is excellent for Pitta. God, it's not often I hear you all silent out there, Jakers.
Yeah, no, we're making our way through all of these. I think we've answered every question that exists in the universe at this stage, you know.
Can one of the ladies talk about food combining?
So food combinations, like there are 16 different types of incompatible combination of food. I'll give you some example. So if you're taking something, like one of the type is opposite temperature. So if you take something hot and cold together. So if you grab a burger, which is hot, and you take a can of Coke, then that's an incompatible combination of food. And if you are in a cold country, and so there is another incompatible combination, that the kind of weather you are in and you take the same temperature of the food. So if it's winter, if it's too cold and you're still taking ice creams, the cold drinks, the cold water, then that is also an incompatible combination. And then if you mix your dairy products along with your meat and animal products, that's also an incompatible combination of food. And honey should not be taken in warm condition, yogurt should not be cooked. So all these are, different types of incompatible combination. And there is one very famous incompatible combination of food is, do not mix honey and ghee together in equal proportion. They also acts as a strong toxins when they go inside our body. So I think I've given four, five
One
examples.
big one that Irish people or Indian use is fish and milk. That's
Yeah,
highly contraindicated
that,
to use milk
yes.
when cooking fish.
And another one that all Irish people are subjected to, not at the moment, but they will be subjected to when you go back, is you go into any restaurant, you go into any bar for lunch or any place like that, and before you even ask, they'll bring you a big pint glass of ice water. And that's a big no-no. Now, I'm not talking about incompatibility, but I'm just talking about ice water just killing your digestive system, your digestive juices. So we don't drink cold water with our meals. Well, the advice is not to drink cold water with your meals. So nowadays you can just ask for hot water. If you want something to drink, to sip, just ask for a cup of hot water. It used to be considered a bit strange, but not anymore. They're well used to it, you know. But just forget about drinking ice water with your meals. It's not a good idea.
Sally Hayden points out, and I think it's a very good point, that the use of the computers excessively really does provoke pitta in the sight. Not good for the eyes. So
yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, 100% agree with that. I'll let you know at the end of next week. I'll probably be gone blind.
They're using those glasses, windscreen protection, or the glasses, or you use the I think the light protection on your phone or on your laptop. Someone suggested that, so that helps. It does help when you use night mode on your computer. It lower down the brightness, and that's very helpful for TV or laptop.
And one more common combination I would like to mention is having your fruits, so fresh fruits along with your porridge. That's also an incompatible combination of food. You should not mix fresh food and cooked food together. So if someday you are planning to eat salads, then eat just salad. Do not have any cooked food along with that. Or just put a gap of a few hours between salads and cooked food.
Okay, that's interesting.
Dr. Nahid, you have created a question now about curry. When you said the yogurt should not be cooked, Indians love the curry, the gram flour. So what would you say on that?
Actually, yogurt should not be cooked. So actually, the curry is not an ideal food to have. That's very incompatible food.
No,
But
curry
if you
actually is cooked with buttermilk. So buttermilk is okay. So because you're diluting the small tablespoon of yogurt into water, and then you use hingu asafetida. So that's what you balance when you're making curry, because curry is very traditional in Gujarati and I think Punjabis and all. So you make it with buttermilk. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're mixing spices, and once a while, if you're having it and not on a regular basis, then that's fine. You can have it.
Okay. So I think we're drawn to a close here. Okay, so our next lesson is going to be on kapha. And what I'll do is, if I get a chance in the morning, I will put this video up on YouTube and you can review it. And as I say, on Thursday morning, I'll send you the link for the next lesson. We're going to deal with the third dosha, which is kapha. Kapha is water and earth, so it's a very heavy dosha, and it's completely different qualities than pitta. So we're going to go in depth into the qualities of kapha. And someone was saying earlier on, they've done a good few tests and they keep coming out differently.
Gosh, no, you're breaking up a lot.
Sorry, Don. I think you're into Don.
Breaking, Dr. Brennan is breaking.
Yeah, no, Don, I think it's your system there.
Oh, you're breaking up too much. It's going across.
I think it's your system, Don.
Yeah, I hear him fine, Dr. Brennan.
Yeah, it's your system, Don. You're freezing. You know.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, so I will be going into the qualities of kapha and looking at the kapha dosha and, you know, what diseases are associated with it and how it's a very good dosha for stability and strength of the immunity and the immune system and everything like that, you know. So that's great, everybody. Thanks a million for coming along. As I say, we have our cookery course on Friday night, the detox cookery course, and then Dr. Nahid has our webinar on Monday night as well. So if you're interested in any of them, just go to ayurveda.ie and on the booking page you can see all of those. But other than that, I think we'll leave it, and we'll see you on Thursday at 7:30. Unless any of the doctors have anything they want to finish with.
Yeah. Just one question. So there's a question about that someone has taken body type test in different app, and in each app it was different. So the best thing you can do, you take a test in our website, and in the beginning of each lesson, Dr. Brennan explains how a vata and a pitta and a kapha person behaves. So you just note down and match with yourself, so you'll have an idea what body type you are.
Yeah, I mean, after the 3 lessons, you shouldn't need to do a test. You should be self-referral.
Yeah.
You should have a fair idea yourself what you are. So maybe we'll ask Ollie some questions the next time. See how you get on with them.
Give a test now.
Give a test, yeah. Give a test. See if you've been listening to us at all. Okay, everybody, fantastic. Thank you very much. Namaste. Have a lovely, well, the evening's nearly over, but have a nice Wednesday, and we'll see you Thursday night. Thanks, Dr. Nahid, for coming on from India. Dr. Rajvinder, thank you. And Dr. Brennan. Cheers, everybody.
Pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.